Okay, again, we're working on the question, how do I use tables, diagrams, graphs, and equations to represent quantities that vary together? So we've talked about, constant speed, and we talked about, the rate at which, we pour superhero soups into vats. Now we're going to talk about other things that vary together, like costs. Seward Elementary School plans to sell friendship bracelets. The bracelets can be purchased from 3 companies. So they could go with Company A, which charges $30 for 24 bracelets, plus a flat rate of $4 for shipping any number of bracelets. So when I say a flat rate, I'm saying it's going to cost you $4 for any number of bracelets. No matter what, you're going to pay $4 for shipping. Whether you buy 1 bracelet or 100 bracelets, you're going to spend $4 just for shipping. So that's why they say it's a flat rate. Company B charges $13 for 10 bracelets, so might be a little more expensive, but they do not charge for shipping. And Company C charges $18 for 15 bracelets, plus a flat rate of $10 for shipping any number of bracelets. So they're charging more for shipping. So let's see. One way we can kind of work this out and figure out which company might be better is to make a table. Let's start with Company A. If you remember, Company A charged $30 for 24 bracelets. So you can see in our very first row it was completed for us. The first column is the number of bracelets. The second column is just the cost in dollars. This is just for the bracelets. So remember, it was $30 for 24 bracelets. And then you can see in the next column, this is for the shipping. So it's going to be $4 for shipping. No matter how many bracelets we buy, it's $4. And now we can put that all together to get our total cost. So $30 for the bracelets plus $4 for shipping. Now we're at $34. Well, what if we wanted 12 bracelets? 12 is half of 24, right? So if 12 is half of 24, we can take all of those numbers and just, kind of cut it in half. So if it's $30 for 24 bracelets, and I'm only buying half of that if I get 12 bracelets, this is now going to be $15. So $15 for 12 bracelets. Again, I'm going to pay, $4 for shipping. It doesn't matter how many bracelets I buy. That's a flat shipping rate. So now I can put it all together. $15 for 12 bracelets plus the $4 for shipping, and I'm going to end up with $19. Well, what if I want 6 bracelets? Just 6. Well, 6 is half of 12, right? So I can take my $15 and cut that in half. Half of 15 would be $7.50. $7.50 for 6 bracelets. And again, I still have to spend $4 for shipping. So now I'm going to spend a total of $11.50 for 6 bracelets. Okay. What if we're talking about, 2 bracelets? 2 bracelets, well, that's, a third of $7.50, so we'd have to do a third of $7.50. Or, if you look carefully, you can see this row has already been completed for us. Did you notice how they said for 1 bracelet, the price is $1.25? 1 bracelet costs $1.25. Well, how did they get that? They found the unit price. We've talked about that before. When you want to find the unit price, you take the cost and you divide it by the number of units. In this case, you could do 30 divided by 24. 24 goes into 30 one whole time. That gives me 24, of course. Subtract. I can add a decimal point and a 0. Bring that down. Of course, bring my decimal point straight up. 24 goes into 60 2 times. 2 times 24 is 48. And I'm going to subtract that. And that's going to give me 12. And then, of course, I can add another 0 if I wanted. 24 can go into 120 5 times. So that's where my $1.25 came from. I took the cost in dollars and divided it by the number of units. So one bracelet costs $1.25. That's my unit price. And of course, I would still have to add 4 to that, and I would have to do 1 times $1.25, or one bracelet times $1.25 for that bracelet, plus 4. So if I have 2 bracelets, I would have to do 2 times $1.25, and that would give me $2.50. And of course, plus $4 for shipping, and it would cost me $6.50 for 2 bracelets. So what we're going to do in the shaded cells, the blue cells, the directions say, in the shaded cells, write expressions rather than the final value. So we're actually just going to write an expression, meaning we're not going to get the final answer. We're just going to write what we would have to do to get that answer. So if I'm talking about 5 bracelets, I would have to do 5 times $1.25 to get my cost. And of course $4 for shipping, so basically it's 5 times $1.25 plus $4 to get my total cost. If I'm talking about buying 17 bracelets, I'd have to do 17 times $1.25 and $4 for shipping, so now it would become 17 times $1.25 plus 4. 33 bracelets, well, I would have to do 33 times $1.25 for each bracelet. Shipping is $4, so it's 33 times $1.25 for each bracelet plus the $4 for shipping. So N is going to represent, the number of bracelets. It could be 33, it could be 17, it could be 125, doesn't matter. I'm going to have to do $1.25 times N, times the number of bracelets. And if I want to get my total cost, I have to do $1.25 times the number of bracelets plus, the $4 for shipping. So we're going to use this to write our equation to describe the total cost, T, for purchasing N friendship bracelets from Company A. So N in this case is the independent variable because it can change, right? We could buy 33 bracelets, we could buy 133 bracelets. The dependent variable T is going to depend on the number of bracelets we buy. So the total cost in dollars, T, is going to be equal to $1.25 times N, right? $1.25 for each bracelet that we buy, plus the flat rate of $4 for shipping. Tell what the numbers in your equation represent. Okay, well, the $1.25 is the coefficient I'm running out of space here. The coefficient which represents the cost in dollars for one bracelet, for one bracelet. And then the other number, 4 represents the shipping. Sorry about the chicken scratch here. Okay, now consider Company B. Write an equation for the total cost in dollars, T, in terms of the number of friendship bracelets, N. Show your work. This time, you don't really need to create a table unless you really want to. But if you remember from the last setup had us writing our equation. Let's see, Company A's equation was T equals $1.25 times N plus 4. The $1.25 was, the unit price, the cost for one bracelet, and 4 was the shipping. So if you look at Company B, if you remember, Company B was actually charging, let's see, Company B charged $13. Wow, I'm going off the page here. Sorry about that. Company B was charging $13 for 10 bracelets. But if you remember, they did not have a shipping charge. So you do not have to worry about shipping for company B. So what I would do is I would figure out how much it would cost per bracelet. I would figure out the unit price. We need to find the unit price. And if you remember, to find the unit price, you have to do the cost divided by the number of units. In this case, I'd have to do 13 divided by 10. So let's do red here. 13 divided by 10. 10 goes into 13 one time. Subtract, I get 3. I can add a decimal point and a 0 to bring down. Of course, I have to bring my decimal point straight up as well. 10 goes into 30 3 times, so 3 times 10 is exactly 30. And my answer is 1.3. But that doesn't mean, my money's 1.3. I have to turn this into money. I have to think, what would 1.3 be in terms of money? And money always goes to the hundredths place. So I need to have a 0 or another digit in the hundredths place. Obviously 0 is the one that belongs there. So that means it's $1.30 per bracelet. So if I were to write my equation and set it up the way I did for company A, T is going to be equal to $1.30 times N, the number of bracelets. But I don't have to worry about shipping for company B, so I don't have to add anything else on. My equation is simply $1.30 N, or T equals $1.30 N. So now, at the bottom of page 218, we're going to complete the table to figure out the cost of buying different quantities of bracelets from each company. And I helped you with company A, I helped you with the equation for company B. You have to figure out company C on your own. And I'm only going to help you complete some of this table just to get you started. But let's see. If we're talking about company A, if you remember, company A's equation was T equals $1.25 N plus 4. I'm having a hard time squeezing this in, but you could probably do better than I did. So $1.25 times N plus 4. Company B, the equation was T equals $1.30 times N. You had to figure out company C. And now we're going to figure out, well, what would it cost to buy all of these different quantities of bracelets from each company? So let's look at company A. If I want to buy 25 bracelets from company A, I would have to do, let's see, company A, I would have to do $1.25 times 25 bracelets plus 4. $1.25 times 25 bracelets, of course, plus the $4 for shipping. So if I went with company B, I would spend $36.25. I'm sorry, company A. If I went with company B, I would just have to do $1.30 times the number of bracelets. So I would do $1.30 times 25. And $1.30 times 25 is $32.50. And I don't have to worry about shipping there. So if I'm just buying 25 bracelets, so far company B looks like the better way to go. What if I'm buying 100 bracelets? Well, if I go back to company A, I have to do $1.25 times the 100 bracelets plus 4. And $1.25 plus 100, $1.25 times 100 plus the $4 for shipping, that's going to cost me $129. Whereas if I go with company B and buy 100 bracelets, I'm going to do $1.30 times the 100 bracelets, and that's going to give me $130. So if I'm buying if I'm buying 100 bracelets, then maybe company A might be the way to go. I want you to complete this table because you're going to find that depending on the number of bracelets that you're buying, some companies might be better than others. So here are the takeaways, short and sweet. Equations can be used to find the total cost. And here's how it's set up. Your dependent variable is the total cost. That's the variable to the left of the equal sign. The unit rate or unit price in this case is your coefficient. That's the number, that's going to stay constant because it's $1.25 for each bracelet or $1.30 for each bracelet. N is going to represent the number of items, in this case the number of bracelets, and that's our independent variable. We could buy 5 bracelets, we could buy 100 bracelets, we could buy 300 bracelets. It could change. And that number of bracelets is obviously going to affect T, the total cost, making that the dependent variable T. And anything that extra that we get added on here, that's our, in this case, cost for shipping, or the amount of something that we have to start with. So whether we're buying, 1 bracelet or 100 bracelets, we're definitely going to be spending at least $4 for shipping. So that's something we kind of start with. If you remember the equation that we set up for the VATs of Superhero Soup, the extra money, or not extra money, the extra amount that was added at the end was something that might have already, liters of soup that was already in the vat to start. It was already starting at 4 liters in the vat or 3 liters in the vat. So that's the cost for shipping in this case, or maybe just the amount to start.